Let's make your job easy.
Magnificent 7. The Eagles make it an unhappy team at Hawthorn with a comprehensive 32-point victory. Almost 23,000 fans braved the wintry conditions to watch a spirited Hawks outfit unable to crack a stout West Coast defence led by the return of star Jeremy McGovern. The winning streak pushing the Eagles back into the top 4 with one game remaining in Perth before the run home in the hub. Welcome to this week's episode of Eagle Review, proudly sponsored by Kennards Hire. Can on Kennards to make trade easy. Go in store or online, kennards.com.au. Tyson Beattie, welcome back to the desk. You never really know what type of performance you're going to get out of Hawthorn, and despite their struggles in 2020, I think the 13-time premiers had a fair crack early on.
Well, Steve, it was the perfect execution of Hawthorn's resistance. 3 goals in 6 minutes after half-time, effectively killing off the contest. But if you look at the early part of the game, it was intriguing. Hawthorn dominated field position after that first 5 minutes. In fact, they had 15 inside 50s to West Coast 12 at quarter time, but didn't score a point. Now, that hasn't happened, a scoreless first quarter for Hawthorn since 2017, only 15 times in the history of the club. So it was quite extraordinary, and you have to hand it to West Coast defence. They were terrific early on. You do. I mean, the aerial prowess on display from Jeremy McGovern and Tom Barrass was just electrifying to watch. It was plus 12 contested marks for the team for the day, and they were a big reason why. Gov looked amazing. After 4-game absence and a fractured right thumb, no problem there. And TB plucking everything in sight. They had 17 marks between the two of them, 7 of those interceptions and 19 intercept possessions for the afternoon. Those two were dominant. When you look at West Coast's first 4 goals, they were all from forward half intercepts. They had the same amount of forward half intercepts as Hawthorn at that time, 10 apiece maybe, but Hawthorn 0. West Coast 4 goals. The storyline of the day, West Coast took their opportunities when Hawthorn didn't. Oh, you're right. I mean, Hawthorn ended up having 7 more turnovers in the first half, but they worked their way back into the game in that
big time. I mean, that snap goal from the forward 50 stoppage from Shield got them right back in it, as to the rebound from half-back and Wingard's long ball to Burgoyne set them up to probably the result hovering around that 21-point margin for a little bit there. And Hawthorn restricted West Coast intercepts. They had no intercept marks in the second quarter, so they reined them back in after that one. But again, as we've said on this show so many weeks, it was another third-quarter blitz that just opened the game right up.
Well, Hawthorn were actually only 26 points down at half-time. They were still in the contest, but as you mentioned, Steve, 3 goals in 6 minutes. It was a real blitz, and they were statement goals as well. Let's have a look at the first one here. Nick Nananui out of the centre. Now, he has 2 touches here. The follow-up receive handball from Ryan was good. Deep entry, JK, great body work on Frawley, and finishes with a goal.
Absolutely.
Now, the next is possibly the play of the day, Steve, and this is a brilliant. From the forwards, Ryan provides this contest. Now, it was just a little bit of a spoil that spills it beautifully for Darling. He handles it. Now, he's got pressure on his hammer.
So clean, though. Didn't touch the deck there. Very impressive.
And this was a good long deep entry with JK going back with the flight and the finish. That was a really, really good bit of effort there.
I agree. So it was 3 goals from Kennedy on the day and 3 goals from Liam Ryan also. And we've talked about this. The amount of times Liam Ryan has stood up with big contested marks inside forward 50 when we've really needed it this year, it's been countless. He ranks #1 at the club for score assists, which is very impressive. Simo said the boys have been doing their best to rally around him after the difficult tragedies he's kind of suffered so far in the last couple of weeks. He almost took mark of the day, mind you, in the 4th quarter when many were running out of legs. He certainly wasn't. He stood up. I thought Cripps was terrific on the day. His contested ball and ground ball efforts, quality. Him most offensive acts for the club for the day as well. But Darling, I thought this was his best game for 2020. 13 disposals and 7 marks. Their season highs in 2020. He's had a bit of a quiet 2019, coming off an All-Australian selection, his first. 3 goal assists as well. None more heartwarming than the feed to Nick Reid, getting him his first goal at senior level.
Oh, this was the moment of the match, wasn't it? And it was the front page of the West Australian, this celebration from Nick Reid. If you didn't know the story already, most people do, but he was playing for North Beach Amateurs, played 100 games of A grade. He was teaching at Corrine Senior High School at the start of this season. It's an amazing story. For every amateur football player running around on a Saturday afternoon, this dream is possible still. And if there's this great Hollywood movie, a gridiron blockbuster called Rudy, this is the sequel.
Well said. Well, how about his chase down tackle in the first quarter? That's some of the speed that he can personify. Great wing tackle on Impey, gave him no chance. and a big deep entry with that booming left boot of his. Got him a goal assist and the boys got round him well. But the sea has parted for Reid to get his opportunity in 2020, big time.
It has. I mean, if you look at the opportunity that's been presented to Nick Reid, it's remarkable given that all of the injuries and the circumstances around it. Willie Rioli obviously out. Jermaine Jones, who was looking really promising, had come in. He has an injury.
Venables out for the entire season, can play that high half-forward role.
And Petruccelli as well. Waterman also going down before this match. So his opportunity has really come, and it's an opportunity of a lifetime for an amateur football.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets a further crack next week and beyond in the hub. The Mids will be happy with their performance. When you're plus 31 contested possessions up on the day, you've got to tip your cap to them. Gaffey, 33 disposals. Boots, 24 as well. Shepherd, third in line with 22. Not too often I see him so high up on the possession list. Or a consecutive goal kicker. What is happening?
Well, that's amazing. It's actually first time he's gone back-to-back goals since 2012. In fact, he had 3 in a row in that season, so remarkable goal. But you know what he did say, actually?
What's that, mate?
Post-game, in his post-game radio interview with ABC, he mentioned that he felt like he owed one because have a look at this fluff for a spoil here that led to a Hawthorn goal just moments before his big tackle.
Fresh air spoil, that one.
Yeah, so good to make one up there for Shep.
Big time. He's got to get 3 in a row to equal his record back in 2012. Don't know if you knew that one. But Nick Nananui is setting records for himself, so he's obviously broken the 2020 record. 16 hit-outs to advantage. Good work from the big fella. I tell you who loved that the most was old Dummy Sheed with a West Coast high 8 clearances saying, "Feed me more, big Nick Nat." Now, TB, got the Lions and Power above us on the ladder so far, but we've got a game in hand. So, unfortunately, the injury bug couldn't come at a worse time with a compressed fixture on the horizon as well. Recent news, Elliot Yeo was laid out from the game. Jared Brander came in, performed admirably, but a bit of osteitis is the word from the coach, so could miss a few weeks, and that inevitably in this season could be 5 games in a sense, so it's not looking great. You've got Jack Redden also coming off the field with an adductor injury and missing the remainder of the game, so who knows how long he'll be out for.
I also mentioned Waterman was injured as well, but Liam Duggan came into this game in fantastic form, and he's ended up with an injury, a hamstring injury as well, but he should be able to play next week. Worse news, though, for Nathan Vardy, who unfortunately got injured in the scrimmage earlier in the week. Now, this is a really bad bleed to the cork.
Yeah, it's got compartment syndrome, they call it, so it's exactly what Jaron Geary had last year, and you go and Google that photo of him online. We won't show it on this show. Pretty graphic stuff, and it's pretty scary, so it's immediate surgery, and wishing all the best for Vardy's improvement. Hopefully you hear more at the medical report during the week or on Tuesday. But what is great news is that Mark Hutchings will be available to return, and when you have 6 scrimmage players take part in the reserves game, we really need those stars returning to the field ASAP.
Now, let's go to your roast of the round, Stephen.
Our roast, I'll share it with you. I'll throw a dog a bone. But why don't we throw it over to Hawthorn's 2020 debutant for the year? Oh, don't make me pronounce his name. I'm Changuth. I probably butchered that. He also butchered Dommy Sheed's spine on this occasion. Flew at it with pace. Tommy Barras, he flew high on this one. The landing, though, oh, thank goodness his shoulder is still intact. Good work, big fella, getting up. This was an interesting moment. So Jack Darling running back towards goal, Cripps to his left. He's almost anticipated a bad bounce. He says, no matter where this is, I'm going to tap it. In his breadbasket, taps it through the goals. Jamie Cripps gives him a fair cook. He's roasted for us. Thankfully, the boys got on the same page a little later in the game. Darling, handball, Cripps, Golski.
Now, Brendan Archie, he's been pretty reliable lately, but how about this little fumble here? That made the 23,000 fans a little bit nervous, wouldn't you think?
A bit of slippery footy out there for that brief moment.
Another guy in great form, Dom Sheed, very accurate with his kicking normally, but geez, didn't he make McGovern work for this one? And this could have been a disastrous turnover and goal.
The drop of the head from Dommy Sheed, just, I've cooked it. He knew straight from the get-go, old Dommy.
Now, Oscar Allen versus Big Boy McAvoy. Bit of a mismatch, but I tell you what, Eddie Maguire certainly didn't give much faith in Oscar on this one.
So Oscar Allen goes into the ruck. McAvoy says, right, OK, a part-time ruckman, let's see what I'll do to you. Allen does it beautifully, though.
Yeah, not the best there. I think when Alistair Clarkson wanted to give his players a bit of a kick up the backside from their start, that's not quite what he had in mind, but I reckon it's pretty close. Shuey getting the brilliant don't argue there from Warple. Bit of a role reversal. Good fend off that one. Now Gaff's little flick handball over the back. That was slick. Dommy Sheed couldn't live up to the hype of the handball. That ball is well and truly out on the full.
Now, this might be the best Falcon of the year. Cannot believe this one on Cade Simpson. Surprised he didn't lose teeth on that one.
Yeah, it was a jaw wobbler, that for sure. I'm surprised you got back up and knew what day of the week it was. But we're going to the winners. I don't know where this one fits in, but this is some of the most incredible vision I've ever seen. Is it from the Austrian GP? How has someone not been folded in half from that flying motorcycle?
The bike nutmegged both the other riders on that.
Man, if West Coast were that accurate in front of goal, they'd be undefeated by now. But here we go. This is the winner. It's got to easily be the Dockers game. So here's the ending. Are you roasting Taberner for the deliberate? What about not manning the mark straight away? There's no way that Gibbons is not the closest man to that footy. He's beaten him by about 30 metres. Well, now the cameraman and the security dude are giving him chewed. This is my field. Don't you dare move me. What? What's going on?
But the photographer thinks he's going to take, the greatest shot in history here. So he's just staying there. He doesn't want to move.
And he's kicking the ball from about 10 metres further inside than what he should have. Roast a lot of them.
Make your job